Shalom, shalom. How's everyone doing today? Give me a second to get the chat up and running. There we go. There we go. There we go. I see you guys. Shalom, shalom. I'm going to wait for a few more people to come on before I start because this is going to be one of those videos this time around. I'm going to hold myself to it, but this is going to be one of those videos that if you blink, you're going to miss it because I am not going to be on here long. I am not going to be on here long. I say that I know every time we get together, but we get together and have so much fun, right? We're communing together that times it just flies right by, and we don't want to end it, right? So shalom, shalom, everyone that's coming on board right now. It is so good to see you guys. I'm hoping and praying that your day has been going very, very well. I am recovering, if you will, from my my day of, well, actually, you know what? It is one day, but then you still have work to do the next day. So I say my days of canning. Um, I sometimes, depending on how many batches that I'm doing, I can only do so much, and then I have to do a little bit of a rest time, and then I can pick up and do it all over again. But I did 3 batches. The day before yesterday, I did 3 batches. I did one full canning batch of pinto beans that were in the quart size. So I did 7 of those guys. Shalom, 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 everyone coming on board. No, beans, you have to pressure can those. Okay? So you have to pressure can pinto beans. That's Pamela Montgomery, Zion's Girls, asking. So do you have to pressure can pinto beans, or can you water bath? No, no water bath. You need to pressure can those guys. Beans, because they have to be, that's one of one of the longer time frames for processing is beans and meat. So you definitely want to do those, both of those in the pressure canner. So anyways, oh, you did some, Tamika Roberts. You did some canning also, huh? Yesterday, last night with more to go. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I'll say this. Canning, there's so many benefits to canning. Pressure canning your food or water bath canning your food. Either one of them, or both of them, I should say, not either one. Both of them. There's so many benefits that outweigh anything that would be not a benefit, okay? And one of the not a benefits I'm going to talk about is this, and that is pressure canning is not for a lazy person, period. It's not, because there's work involved. Just like gardening. Gardening, if you want to put together a vegetable garden, fruit trees, and it takes some work. Okay, it takes a little bit of work. It's not for the lazy. It doesn't take care of itself. So pressure canning is one of those things where you want to make sure that your jars are all clean and without defects. Your jars, your lids, your rims, all of those have to be clean before you even start your process. When you're doing the process, there's prep work that you have to do before you get your food ready to go in the jars. There's prep work. Then once you get it in the jars and you put it in the canner, then you have to monitor that canner. Then after you monitor the canner, you've processed everything, you've timed it, and you're ready to take everything out, and you let it sit overnight. Then the next day it continues, because you have to take those rims off And then you have to make sure that you've cleaned those jars really, really well before you put them on the shelf. So it's not a job for the lazy. But that's not why we are here. We're just talking about, while we're waiting for more people to come on, we're just talking about what Mary C. and what Tamika Roberts has been doing the past couple of days and today. Okay? Shalom, shalom, A. Miller. Shalom, shalom, Samantha B., the head nerdling. Nicole Fox and Ruby Jeffries. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I think I got everyone so far. Um, People are still coming on board. So here's what I wanted to talk about. You see the title of this video is After an Emergency. Are you prepped for the aftermath? And what got me thinking about this is we have a whole lot of people from the Carolinas and from Florida that have been displaced. I need to scoot up because I feel like I'm so far away. That have been displaced, right? And now I want you guys to talk to me now. Talk to me. Talk back to me over there in the chat. I want you to talk back to me because this is one of those things that I want you to stop and I want you to think, because that's what I was doing. I was sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, it's been like, what, 7 days since the Hurricane Ian struck, right? Shalom, shalom, UK, from UK, Patsy Valentine. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time coming. Anyone, if it's your first time coming, welcome. So here's the thing. It's been about 7 days since Hurricane Ian has struck. And I think about us and how we talk about prepping all of the time, right? We talk about making sure that you've got your medical supplies, your prescriptions, your supplies for your fur babies, for your little children, for your family, your food supplies, your water supplies. We talk about all of that. We talk about making sure that you have either a to-go bag or a bug-out bag. We talk about all of that, right? And I can't help but wonder how many of those folks, when they were preparing to evacuate, not all of them evacuate, and we'll talk about that too, but those that were preparing to evacuate, I wonder how many of those guys actually had bug out bags, if you will, to take with them, emergency bags to take along with them when they were leaving. Now, I listened to one lady talk, and she was a woman who had taken on some family members, children who were from they weren't hers, another family member's children. She's, I guess, raising them, and she'd taken them on, and there's like 3 of them, I want to say. And she was discussing that when they evacuated, they went to stay with another family. Well, we all know it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do, and that is to go and move in with other people, especially when you have little children. And there's, more than 1, 2, or 3, it's difficult. It's difficult to move in with family and others, friends, because, they're thinking that it's only going to be for a short while, and you're thinking the same thing, that you're going to be able to pack it in and go back home right away. Well, in the case of Hurricane Ian, they can't just pack it in and go back home. So they're going to have to find alternative places that they can go to, right? Shelter is where many of them are going. So the shelters in those areas are being overwhelmed, right? But I still ask the question, in the event of something like that, how many of those people were prepared enough to have a bag prepared ahead of time for the children themselves, that they could take with them during their evacuation? And then I'm thinking also that if they were evacuating in a vehicle, how many of them thought to pack those vehicles with supplies and things that they may need? That's the other thing. I know I'm not talking at this point about the aftermath. We'll get there, but I'm thinking beforehand, before the emergency hit, how many of those people, it just makes me really wonder how many of them were prepared. It does not sound like many of them were prepared at all, had prepped beforehand for an emergency situation. Now, not necessarily for like the flooding, but before the flooding happened is what I'm talking about. Shalom, shalom, Lady Lovelace and Jean Field. Floods again in Australia. What is going on? Whoa, there's so much involved in that. I still think that the Heavenly Father is pouring out judgment. It's going on all over the world. There are things that are going on and happening. Um, wow, there's a lot going on. There's just a lot going on. Shalom, shalom, T. Washington and Shelley Phillips. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Roseanne Withdrawal, all of you guys from Texas. And, I'm praying that you all are staying safe. I pray for each of you every day in my prayers that we are covered. We are talking now about after an emergency, are you prepped for the aftermath? And you know what? I was just voicing my own thoughts on it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that many of the people that were in those areas that were hit so hard with Hurricane Ian, do you think any of them had bags prepared uh, when they evacuated? I saw people that were being evacuated after the fact, also from their homes after Ian had already struck and all of the flooding had taken place, and they were being evacuated. And those that I saw that were being removed from the damaged areas, I saw maybe one or two people with a backpack or a bag that they carried with them. The rest of them, I didn't see them with anything. And so after the fact, we don't often think about, well, how are we going to manage after something like this happens? We try to prepare for it before it happens. But the other thing to think about is, what do we do after now? Now, what do we do? Again, I was talking about the woman who has the three children. She is moving from her family's, from a family member's home, and now seeking assistance from a shelter. And had been when she got to the shelter, she had already contacted the agencies, the FEMA agency, to try to get assistance in that area, and they're, dare I say, backlogged, and so she didn't really get the help that she needed. She's still looking for help. This is just one person I'm talking about, just one person with three little ones, just one person. We're talking about so many people who have been affected by this, right? That I could understand why FEMA is backlogged. And family, I'm coming to you to say, I think we need to do a little bit more for ourselves in then how can I put this? I don't want to talk negatively about those that are um, that have been impacted by Hurricane Ian. I'm just thinking, moving forward, how can we avoid some of the situations that I'm now viewing, um, watching the survivors of Hurricane Ian? That's what I'm trying to say. Not to put them down for what they did. that's what's done is done. But we're looking through their lens, and I'm saying, what could we do that would improve our chances of making sure that we have some supplies or things, some of the things that we need, so that we're not totally dependent. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Shalom, shalom, Eve, new beginnings. It's good to see you, sweetie. They only had the clothes on their backs, many of them. So you guys saw what I saw, right? So, and that was, who was that? Jordan Sherman. Yes, they only had the clothes on their backs. So yes, Pamela, you're saying from that's a great question. I would say from watching the news, not many were prepared. We've been watching the storm, the announcement that it was on its way. How do you prepare for something like that? Oh, I'm here to tell you, I'm sure that's probably something difficult to do. I'm sure it is. But one of the things that we keep pressing on our prepping channels is to put a bag together. One bag per person, if the persons are able to carry it. One bag per person. I was listening to these, the family, this one particular family talk, and then I was listening to another one that was speaking about the situation that they're in right now. And one of the things that was mentioned was this. Now, of course, you've got stores like Walmart and others that at the register, they're asking you if you will donate to Hurricane Ian and things like that. So you've got agencies, you've got the Red Cross and all the other ones um, that are willing to take in donations. I'm personally very careful with donating to some of those organizations because there's history and there's past things that there's. I'll just say there's history, so I'm very careful with donating into some of those agencies that are out there. They're not always doing the things that they say they're doing, and they are sometimes particular with who they are helping. And so I'm very careful when it comes to things like that. Um, but again, there are stores like Walmart that they're taking donations to help out. But one of the things that the shelter and this particular woman who's been affected by Hurricane Ian has said, they are just looking at this point in time to have their basic needs met. Just think about that. Basic needs. Now, you look at basic needs, and that's food, water, shelter, right? Those are pretty important. If you evacuated the area without a car, then I could see that you don't have, maybe a place that you can kind of call a shelter. Because if I have my vehicle, that would act as a temporary shelter for me. How about you guys? What are you thinking? I mean, did everybody in Florida pack it up and evacuate in somebody else's car or in a bus, or did they take the train out? I'm just trying to understand all of this. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Because if you have a vehicle, I'm thinking that you've got temporary shelter for a few days. I'm even moved at this point in time to say, you know what? I have a small tent, but I'm thinking I might just go ahead and get me another small tent. Because if worse comes to worse, I can take that tent out somewhere and I can bunk down in that tent if need be. Does that make sense? You know, at this point in time, it makes me wonder how many folks are going to survive when it really. I mean, not that I'm saying that Hurricane Ian wasn't rough, because it was. It came in and it destroyed a lot. That was rough. But many of those people evacuated to places that didn't flood, that didn't get hit by Hurricane Ian. You know, it's like, how are we going to survive? This is like getting you ready for it. It's getting you ready for the worst, because the worst is coming. And we have to think beyond. We have to go further than what we've been doing beforehand. Last year, I was only talking to you guys about prepping, getting ready for an emergency. Well, now I'm seeing this hurricane hit, and now my mind is saying, well, wait a minute. What happens after you've survived that? You don't want to get to that point and then be totally dependent on, on FEMA, to be totally dependent on the government to come in and save you, right? Because right now there are a whole lot of people who are looking to FEMA for funds. They're looking to FEMA for assistance, and they have to take their turn. They have to, first come, first. I'm assuming that's how they're doing it. First in, first come, first serve. So there's a lot of red tape that's involved. There's applications. I'm sure there's things that they have to do in order to process these survivors. And it's not happening overnight. It's been 7 days, and this woman is still trying to reach FEMA so that she can actually get the assistance that she needs. She hasn't even been able to get into to get her name on a list, if you will. It's been 7 days, and she's already had to move from one place to the next place. Yes, for a vehicle. So is anybody else thinking like me? A Miller 1111 says, yes, vehicle for shelter for those who have one. Yes. Okay. Pamela says, I live in Texas and also have lived through a Hurricane Harvey with all of its flooding, and we hunkered down. You didn't have to evacuate, which that was a blessing, but took care of us. Okay, so, and that's a blessing. It's, if possible, A. Miller says, if possible, have cash on hand or credit card for hotel stay out of area or camping area away from the devastation. Yes, yes. Tina says, with this war coming, we're all going to need tents. Yes, I would agree with you. We're going to need all kinds of different supplies if we can afford them. Especially with this winter, trying to keep yourselves warm if you're in cool areas or cold areas. The tents will come in handy in those instances as well. Shalom, shalom, Stones Crow Homestead. Good to see you, sis. You got some rain going on in Australia, huh? Okay, you stay safe over there. Okay, T. Washington is saying that even if she could get through to FEMA on the first call, she still wouldn't be able to get assistance right away. So yes, we have to, if we want to survive what is coming. And Stone the Crow's Homestead has a video that's up. If you get a chance, go over and see go over to our sister's YouTube channel so she can relate with me. We can tell that something big is on its way. We know this, right? Something big is coming, and it's not good. It's not good. And if we're going to get through this, I sit back and I'm saying, I said it to someone the other day. So many people are just not going to survive. They're not ready. They're really and truly, they're not ready for what's coming our way. They are not ready. They will not survive. And it's a shame to say it. They will not survive, especially those that are not under the cover of the Most High God. They're not going to survive. They're not preparing themselves for anything because a lot of them either are afraid, and so they don't want to think about what can happen, the bad things that can happen. So they would rather think on good things, and not think about what's going on around them. So they're going to be caught, and you can't help them. You can talk to them about what's getting ready to go down, but many of them don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, and they're not going to make it. They're not ready for this. They're not ready to survive. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about those poor people, and I'm thinking, how many prepping channels are there on YouTube? Tons of them. There's tons of them. Are we experts? Most of us, if you're me, no, not at all. However, I do believe every now and then I'm able to offer some type of help or tips or alerts and warnings that will make you think, well, maybe something may happen, and just maybe she might have be on to something. Maybe I should put a bag together, but I'm not the only one that's out here talking to people. And then I see the aftermath of this hurricane and them talking to the different people that are at this point in time trying to pick up the pieces, right? And I'm amazed at so many who weren't ready. They just were not ready. And then recently I saw them on the news networks talking about the government officials didn't give enough of a warning for people to evacuate. It's now part of the conversation. Um, did they give those people enough time before the storm hit to evacuate? Did they tell them in enough time to leave those areas? And that's been the question that's coming up. The officials have been saying that they did give them enough time. They stand by what they did, but there are people who are questioning that. Good morning, good morning, Shalom. You're good morning there. It's afternoon here for me. So who is that that's saying good morning? Oh, lovely creations. Shalom, shalom, sweetheart. But yes, Stone, the Crow's Homestead says we just share TP, try to help those who don't know how to live through trouble. Yes, that's blessings to you, sweetie. Blessings. Yes. Shomer Ephraim, One Nation, One Power says, well, they don't read the books. The books we've gotten to see how the last kingdom was completely torn down. They have no idea. No. And you know what, Shomer, there are those that are out there that would ask you, what books are you talking about? You could share those books with them and they will refuse to read those books because they're not the 66 books of the Bible. Even though those books that you're talking about outline what is expected to occur. And that is sad to me. It's 5:48 a.m. in Australia, is what Stone Crow's Homestead is saying. Okay. Um, where are you at, Lovely Creations? Where it is morning for you. Are you also in Australia? Yes, yes, yes. North Korea's test. They were testing missiles. Yes. The Lovely Creation. Yeah, I did see that. I'm telling you, they're putting all the pieces together. They're all heading towards. You know what I mean? The pieces are all getting put into to place, and definitely end of days. Definitely. Shalom, shalom, Serena Lightfoot. It's good to see you, sweetie. Um, so where was I going with that? So here I am. I'm up and I'm thinking, my goodness, if they're having those kind of issues in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, what can we do? What can we do differently to make sure that we're covered in certain in the areas that a lot of these guys are not covered in? We were talking about they're in need of just the basic needs. Again, food, water, food, water, shelter, and then any medical things or things needs that they may have. Because I realize that people that need prescriptions and things like that, and other personal items, if you will. So if you had a bag that was ready to go, a to-go bag that is in the closet for each member of your family, including your fur babies, if you have a to-go bag ready, when they say it's time to evacuate, the bags go, but then you should have something already in your vehicle. Okay, you should already have something in your vehicle if you have one. This will help you to survive. You make sure that you've got um, supplies, extra food, anything that you can carry, knowing that you may be out there a few days. It could be it could be overnight, it could be a few hours. But if you know that you've been asked to leave, you've got to get out of the area to be safe, why not prepare for it? Why not have a bag? Why not have your car, uh, you know, uh, prepped for an emergency? So that if you have to leave while you're out there, you're not going to be totally dependent. And someone else mentioned it, money, because, and I'm not talking about a ATM card, because chances are you may go to an lying town somewhere close by, and the ATM machines may not even work. So the hurricane could have taken the electricity out. May not been flooded in that area, but it could have taken out electricity in the nearby towns. So even using a ATM may not be an option. So I'm talking cash. You need to have some cash. So if nothing else, family, I want you to start thinking about what happens after I have survived an emergency. What do I do next? Do I wait and depend on the government, FEMA, to come to my rescue. See, now we're going to get into the conspiracy stuff just a little bit because, again, I'm not going to stay on here too long. The conspiracy stuff. Oh, a while back, probably about what, 2008, 2009. The thought was, you go to these government, the FEMA, right? You go there, and we were all, being bombarded with the thoughts, the ideas, the viewpoints of them setting up camps, okay, where your movement was contained. Okay, I'm trying to say this in a way that I don't get myself in trouble. But back to, like I said, 2009, 2008, 2009, this was a big thing. I mean, they were showing videos with these big black, look like coffins that they were saying were associated with, And so we were thinking, oh, well, guess what? In an emergency situation, or if they decide they want to round up people, blah, 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 we don't want to go to those campgrounds, right? We were saying that. Well, some of us still have that viewpoint. In the case of an emergency, not one of the places Mary C. wants to end up at. But if you don't have food, you don't have water, you don't have all of the, even just the basic needs, guess where you're going? Is that where you all want to end up? It's just a thought. If you're talking about, do you guys get what I'm trying to say, right? Shalom, shalom, Winona Bird, and Danette Daniels. Read what Danette Daniels has to say. Because I'm not going to repeat it, but read what she has to say about what I'm talking about, okay? So have we now gotten to the point where we're trusting and we've decided that, oh, it's okay to do these things now? I don't know what changed. I don't know what changed. Have you guys gotten to the point where, oh, you're going to put your full trust in that area, going in that direction? Get in. Let's see if you get out. Okay, I said it. All right, I've said it. So we need to be able to stand and survive we need to be able to stand on our own feet and be able to survive. Okay? Okay, Stone the Crow's homestead, big enough plastic boxes to hold a family. You saw those, right? The big black containers, and they were bunches and bunches of them stacked up in many of those videos. What I want to say, that was, now I'm talking about a long time ago, because one of them, Jesse Ventura, is in a video, and he's discussing those things. Alicia Cook, I like that. They're like that song, Hotel California. That's right. But you will go to them, because right now we have tons of people that are waiting in line to get to them so that they can get the assistance that they need. If you are desperate and you don't have, at this point, basic needs being met, you will go to them. And you know what? The way that everything is situated, that's exactly what they want you to do. I am not planning on going in that direction myself. Mary C. is going to do whatever she can to be ready for whatever is coming my way. Now, you cannot be, and I understand that, you cannot be completely ready for everything that comes your way. But if I have an alarm being sounded that tells me that something is headed my way and I need to get up and go, guess what? I'm going to get up and go and leave everything that, I can't carry. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm going to leave it and I'm going to take those things that I have planned to take, prepped ahead of time, so that when I get to destination that I'm going to, I can at least put forth an effort to survive. And so that's what this video is about. Are you prepped for the aftermath? And I want you guys to think about that. Think about, if you haven't put a bag together, put one together. Because I'm willing to bet that a lot of those people right now are wishing that they had prepared a little bit before they left their homes. Those that could, those that had the time to, is what I'm talking about. And again, this is not to knock, our people in the areas that were hit by Hurricane Ian. This is not to knock them, but this is to look at the situation and see what we can do so that we can stand and support ourselves as much as possible in the event of an emergency so that we can survive. Uh, I I am a little leery, Stone the Crow's homestead, about some of these agencies, and I'm just not going to lie about it. I've heard so many things, and from people who, just I've heard too many things to believe that they are legit doing what they should be doing. Okay, to help people out. I mean, the concept, the idea of what they're supposed to be standing for is great, but not if they're not doing what we expect them to do when we put our monies, we give our monies to help support those that have been affected. Oh, really? I hadn't seen that. Eve New Beginnings. Some of those big black containers were also kept of people's private properties, but later moved when people started asking questions. I'm not surprised, though. Okay, what am I missing here? Yes, Valerie S. says there will also be requirements to go to those places as well. Because, central location is for your good. Okay, central location. Yes, Tina, that's what they were calling them. Okay, so I'm kind of going back and forth. So those that are not able to see the chat may not understand what I'm talking about. But yes, Tina, that's what they were calling them. Okay, those black things, black boxes. And then to go back to what was that? Somebody put on here, meaning that you're not gonna have a choice but to go to them for help. Somebody said that, and I'm sorry, I can't see where it is that you said that, but you did. You did say, I did see it. I'm sorry, I just can't give you credit for it because I can't see where it's at. But you won't have a choice. You won't have a choice. Uh, it will be a central location to make it easier for you and everyone else, supposedly, to get the assistance that you need. So they're going to funnel people in um, like cattle. And one of these times, they're going to funnel them in like the cattle and let your imagination work on the rest. Okay? Not something that I'm willing to participate in if I don't have to. And I won't have to so long as I am prepping. I won't have to so long as I am ready when an emergency situation happens. And I may not have the amenities that I have in my house, but if I have my vehicle and I'm prepping in my vehicle, I can stay out there in that vehicle for a little bit of time, um, and try to make do in that situation. Hubby and I were also talking about those that didn't get evacuated until later. Okay, and I was saying to him, I saw some areas that they weren't flooded. Okay, they were not flooded. There was damage, but they were not flooded at this point in time. And I saw some homes, some folks that were leaving these homes, and I said to him, I don't know that I would leave necessarily if I had weathered the storm. This is just me. Of course, I'm not in that situation, so I can't say for sure. I'm just talking about what we would do in a situation. Okay, and we were looking at some of the people that were being evacuated out. Of course, some of them were elderly, which I understand why they would want to leave. But if we had weathered the storm and uh, we didn't have the flooding in the house where we couldn't stay, if we didn't have electricity, that's okay. I think we could deal with that. We're prepped enough that I think that we would be able to survive. You know what I'm trying to say? So he and I were looking at that and saying, at that point, I don't know that I would want someone to come and get me. I think I would probably stay where I was at and wait for things to I don't want to say normalize, but wait for things to chill a little bit. Now, I'm not in that situation, so I can't really say for sure if that would be the best thing to do. But he and I both were looking at the situation and saying, you know what? I'm looking at this person's house. I don't know what kind of damage they had on the inside, so I can't really say that way. But if the damage was something that was livable, I don't think I would have evacuated. I think I would have stayed where I was at. I don't think I would have and may do and may do. But you never know what kind of how you're going to really handle a situation until you're in it, and that's the truth. So, as best I know, that's what we were thinking. Again, how do you handle the aftermath after the emergency situation hits? What do you do afterwards? I'm still going to stand on. I think that a lot of those people could have better prepared with having bags when they evacuated. Bags, boxes, whatever you want to call it, if they had vehicles to take, and maybe many of them did, but I just didn't see that many of them. I didn't see that many of them with backpacks. And, it's going to take a while before some of them can actually get back to their homes. And that means that they're at what's the word? Of these agencies. Fill in the blank for me because I can't think of the word right now, but they're at the of these agencies. They have to wait on these agencies in order to just have some of their basic needs met. Stay safe, Esterline. Stay safe in the Caribbean. Stay safe with all that rain that's going your way. So stay safe. Now, if it means surviving and you need to leave your home, honey, we don't have a problem with that. We will get up and leave. If they say evacuate you because it's going to be safer, we will get up and do that. But if you get to the point where you didn't have time to evacuate, whatever, and the storm has come through and you survived it, and your home survived it. That's what I'm talking about. But if you need to evacuate, you do what you need to do to be safe. So I don't want people to think, well, if they say come to your neighborhood and they say you need to evacuate, well, Mary C said stay where you're at, stay at your home, you'll be no, no, no. You go where you're going to be able to survive. You do what you have to do to survive. That's the main plan, survival. And if that means you need to leave your place, you leave your place, but make sure that you've got yourself prepped and ready to leave. Wow. Stone the Crow's Homestead says um, that in Australia, the government is resuming the flooded houses now not safe, so the people can't return to their homes. And that's another thing to think about after an emergency, the aftermath. What if you can't return back to your home? Then what? Are you ready that way? Valerie, you're asking, let me make sure I'm understanding this. You say, if you stay, would it be a red flag if you don't go to the flood, to the food or water lines? Well, I'm thinking those that are in the areas where they're getting food and water, you wouldn't be with them. So they wouldn't know that you weren't in a line. If I had, I'm thinking I'm not going to be around a whole bunch of people, okay? Um, if I'm one of those that had to evacuate, I'm going to go to a safe place that not a lot of people are going to be around. Because if I have to erect a tent, I want to be away, a little bit away, so they won't know that I'm not in a food line. They won't know that I'm not in a water line. I'm going to be away from that. I don't want to be in the midst of where they're doing things. You get what I'm saying? Unless I have to be in the midst of all of that. And then if you're in the midst of that, then that's when you play the gray man. You don't want yourself to stand out. You don't want any of your family members to stand out. That's when you want to blend in. So yeah, you go get in the line even if you don't need it. If you happen to be in that area, so you don't stand out. If you're at home, let's say, if you're at home and everybody in the neighborhood is panicking because they don't have water, they don't have food. Uh, Mary C is going to be outside with the rest of the panicked people, acting like I don't have food and I don't have water. Well, where can we get water at? Mary C is going to be right there in the midst of the conversation, so that they wouldn't know that I've got food and water inside. You get what I'm saying? So in that case, yeah, you do what you have to do to survive. If they're hightailing it and going over to the store, you get in your car and go down the street. Come back. If you can. I'm just saying. If that makes any sense. So you don't want to bring attention to yourself. But in the event of something like this, I'm not going in unless if there's room. But I could just imagine those that didn't really prepare but had money went to the hotels. And I bet you those the ones that were close by were probably filled up. I don't want to be in the midst of all of that. Because then you're if you know what I mean, I would prefer to be away from that. So I would find some place that I could park my car and be away from everybody else. And if I needed to, I can erect a tent somewhere and I won't be bothered by others, so to speak. Does that make sense? Yeah, everybody, Daniels, everybody's bundled together. I love you too, Esterline. Oh, that's so sad. Tina said people were actually playing in the surge and they got swept away. And that is sad. I got what you were saying, Tina. I got what you were saying. Um, but yeah, so I'm already on here. It's going on, what, 55 minutes and 39 seconds. So I said I wasn't going to be on here very long. I just wanted to make sure that you, dear people, my dear family members, I just want to make sure that you're thinking. Like I said, we've been talking all year and year beforehand. We've been talking about prepping, making sure that you've got your things, your items, everything together so that when an emergency hits, you're ready. Right? We've been talking about this, but what we haven't talked about is once it happens and you've survived it, where do you go from there? The aftermath. How do you make sure while you're doing your prepping that when the aftermath comes, that you're still able to survive? That's going to be an um, uh, important part of your survival as well. Okay? So that's why I decided that I was going to get on here and talk to you. Get away from the cities and the coasts if you can. That is wise. Yeah. Here's what is going to happen, and then I'm really going to get off here. But Danette Daniels says, but a lot of people will go to them, and we know who we're talking about, due to no food for their children and themselves. Yes, and Denise Parker, yes, prayers for everyone, for safety and protection. Yes, and you know what? Those that are on right now that hadn't heard me say this, I am calling to you, family members, all who can, to do this. I'm involved, and so many others have come into the comment section and even in the chat. Not this one here, but one of the other videos that I talked about this. I'm calling for for us to pray for the nations, not just the one that you're in. Pray for the nations because trouble is on its way. Pray for the nations that the Father, the Most High God, will have mercy. That His hand, we cannot stay. What He said He will do, He will do. We cannot change that. But what we can do is we can pray for mercy. Okay, for our family members that are in need right now, we can pray for mercy for the things that are coming our way, so that we are under His cover and that we are protected. So I said this week and next week, and you can do it for however long you want. You can skip one meal. You can go without eating anything at all. You can make it that you're going to remove your snacks from the day. But I'm asking that we come together as a family in prayer and also fasting. And you choose the way you want to do it. I'm not regulating it or telling you have to do it this way or that. You choose the way you want to do it. Okay. And so what we are doing is praying and fasting for the nations because we know that terrible times are headed our way. Something really, really big is about to happen. Okay. And so we're looking, wow, there's something on its way. There's something on its way, and we need to be ready for it. So stay prayed up and live in repentance. Love on your neighbors as much as you can. Help those that are in need, that need help, that you can help if you can. Prep, and continue to prep. If you don't have a bag put together, put you a bag together. If your car isn't equipped, make sure that your car is equipped. I was saying beforehand to get money out of the bank, get some money, keep some cash on hand. Go to the gas station. I was saying before to keep your tank at least half full. I'm saying keep it full if you can keep it full, because if the prices are going to start going up on that too. So keep your gas tank full at all, if at all possible. All right. Um, Again, get what you can while you can. What happened in Florida and the Carolinas impacts us here. wherever you are, because there are things that go on in those areas that, when I say the supply chain and how things all work, and who's connected, it's all connected, family. When one area is impacted, the rest of us get impacted as well. So never think that we're an island unto ourselves. Your state may be over here, and you got Florida and the Carolinas that were impacted over there, but don't ever think that you're not going to be impacted by that, because we're all connected. All right. So, family, think about the aftermath. Put your bags together. Get ready. Pray. If you can, fast. Live in repentance. And again, love your neighbors. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. And I want you to be safe out there. And anytime I can think of anything that'll help you out, I'm going to come on and try to do it. I can to do just that, because that's what I'm here for, right? Um, May the Most High bless each and every one of you and keep you all protected, covered, and safe. I love you. But know this, the Most High, He loves you so much more. Shalom, everyone.